do a little bit of that. But back to resourcefulness for just a moment. Hit my screen, would you, sir? Open me up there. I want to talk about this word, resourcefulness. The ability to find quick and clever ways to overcome difficulties. I admire resourcefulness. I think I do. I think it might be one of those traits that I admire more than anything. To me, it feels like that's the spirit of the pioneer. That's the spirit that this country was built on. Resourcefulness is what every startup business requires, what every entrepreneur requires, and it's what every parent needs, right? I mean, that's the mom that takes the pot roast on Sunday and makes tacos with it on Tuesday and then turns it into a casserole on Wednesday, right? Is that sort of resourcefulness that I've known my whole life, and I think I just find so amazing about this industry in particular. I've been studying adaptability a lot too. I did a couple of reality shows Jana mentioned earlier, and adaptability was another one of those traits that I felt became, I got hyper-focused on, you know, because you're in those unreal situations. I'm gonna lose that guy. Unreal situations, difficult working situations. I mean, you take design as it is already, and design has so much room for error, so many moving parts involved, and now we really add the heat. Imagine them trying to ask you to select your colors in 2 minutes, practically in the dark, or go shopping before you know the size of the space that you're shopping for, all sorts of things like that. And if I heard one word once, I heard it over and over. Vern Yip especially, he loved to say, well, adapt or die. You adapt in design, that's what you do. And it really resonated with me. So I'm researching it now a lot, and it's the role that adaptability plays in management, in leadership, you know, and I'm finding that when we attach ourselves to any one idea, we box ourselves in. When we attach ourselves to any specific outcome, we box ourselves in, and we lose the ability to be resourceful. The interesting thing about resourcefulness is that it's almost ironic, but it is limitation that breeds resourcefulness. It is limitation that breeds creativity. And so I actually, as much as we, I think, resist the limitations that we experience, we struggle with the limitations we experience in this business. I find that adaptability is a very relevant topic, isn't it? I mean, how many times have you heard from a new home seller that they want top dollar, but they're not willing to invest anything into it? Right? I mean, we have these conversations over and over that involve limitation, but yet we are going to somehow bring in that resourcefulness and that adaptivity to be able to make a big impact, right? That is what we do. But it's not easy, is it? It's not easy. Working in limitation is not easy. But that's why you get paid the big bucks, right? We're going to work on that. We're going to talk about that, because I find that there's a lot of definition still needing to happen within this industry. Definition of roles, who's doing what, who's paying for what is the best system. And so I want us to do some work here together today, because I find that if you are here in this room, you're the pulse of this industry. You just are. You know, you're the cream of the crop. You guys are here. You're involved. And we're going to be the ones that ultimately have the impact on the direction of this make-ready and home staging process that is very real, very here. We got a new MO. Y'all know what MO? Mode of operation. What is your MO? And I know in this business, I've watched the real estate industry as I've married to one of them over here, and all the teaching that I do, I teach all over. I'm in Dallas a lot. If you haven't come to some of my classes, you got to come. I've got classes they're all on the make-ready process, on architecture, building materials, curb appeal, home staging, even creative writing for those property descriptions. So I work with agents every single week, and they validate the industry has changed. I mean, it's still the same old two things that keep a home from selling, price and presentation, right? Same two things every time. It's not a mystery. The mystery's not there. We know what it is, but do we really know how to work it to our best benefit in a way that is sustainable? I had a top producer in one of my classes, and he told me a very, it was just a sucker punch kind of story. I just thought, I felt so, well, I'll just tell it to you guys. Not that I want to sucker punch you, but I do think we need to know the reality of the industry that we're in and how severe it has gotten. This agent, every girl, every guy in that room knew his name. He's the big top producer in Austin. And he said, I'll verify, it has changed. He had a listing presentation with, it was his best friend and his best friend's wife. I mean, it was really a formality more than anything, just to kind of sit down and talk about the process and, kind of ask a few questions and sign the paperwork. That's why they were there. And then the wife, who was like a small portion, but very real portion of our population who watches a lot of HGTV, right? Has seen several episodes of Property Brothers and asked the question, tell me about your make-ready and home staging processes. And he looked at her like, because the old MO was we're going to hang over here and we're going to really manipulate price. If we don't get the desire, the demand, we're going to play with the price and these huge price reductions. Then we've got a new school of thought that says that's not really offering the highest level of service, is it? I think we can do better. Barbara Corcoran, I love seeing her speak. She spoke in Austin a few months ago. And did anybody else get to see her? I saw someone over there nodding. She is so fun to watch. And she talks about, she goes, I'm sorry, I don't know what industry you thought you were getting into, but you are in the industry of creating desire. That's what you're doing. You're creating desire. I liked that. I was like, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds a little more sexy than real estate or staging. It's desire. But isn't that the truth? We've got to create the demand that reduces days on market and attracts quality offers. And we realize we can do that. We've got a real method to our madness, and it works. Staging works if we know how to work it. And that is really what this talk is all about. It's how do we, with today's standards where they are, for home staging and preparation, because let me tell you, this is nothing new for agents. Since the dawn of their job existence, it's been their role to help advise their client on how to prepare their home to show well. That's their job, a part of their job. But what we've seen is that the standards, like everything, have gone up to such a point, and the buyers are the ones driving that. They want that model home experience, and they will pay more. They do. They respond to what we do when we stage a property. If we price it right and stage it right, they respond. Right? We hear it all the time when you're in the industry, right? You hear the success stories, so we know that it's working. But it's gotten to such a point now that just to do it on our own, if our real goal is to be a top producer, then we've got to build up our resources, because the name of the game, it's not what it used to be as far as the make-ready, right? It requires so much knowledge, so much experience, so many resources to really pull it off to the degree that we are showing to be competitive today. Hence the birth of the amazing Home Stagers, right? So I think we're just still trying to figure out how do we all work together best, because I do believe it is teamwork. And in fact, Steve Jobs said, great things in business are never done by one person. No, they're done by a team of people. That's what I want to talk to you guys about. That's what I work so hard with all my agents, is let's talk about building that team, and what does that look like, and what's your role in that team. And I wish there was one method for all of you, but there's not. Right? There's some of us like being hands-on. That's what drew us to the business in the first place. I became an agent maybe because I love architecture and I love helping people get their home ready. I don't know, or maybe you're one of those agents that loves the contracts and the negotiation, and you just, please, God help me, I need somebody in that department, So it's everything in between exists. So I want us today to be, we're going to be doing some self-evaluation. We're going to be asking ourselves some questions. We're going to be working together a little bit at our tables too. So hopefully when you leave here, you'll have a better sense of what you want from the staging community and how the staging community can better meet your needs real specifically. So if we know it works, what is the freaking challenge? We all know it works. Does it seem, why is every agent out there not paired up with at least 1 or 2 home stagers and just in their back pocket and just doing this deal? You know, there's a challenge here, and I want us to unpack that challenge, okay? Let's talk a little bit about